Welcome everyone. We're glad. I usually forget, pop a ringer off.
Okay.
And if something goes off, you have emergency, please pick it up. All right. If you're okay, I'm okay. I'm having fun sitting for right now. All right. So welcome. My name is Dr. Bill Keenan. I'm a chiropractor and been doing so for about 29, 30 years almost. I married a chiropractor. Her name is Dr. McCormick. We have a practice together called McCormick Chiropractic in Limerick, and my brother-in-law's place is three, one in Pottstown, one in Elverson, and one in Malvern now. Okay, the kids are branching out. So tonight's lecture, I love to speak, and my wife is like 10 times better than me. We usually speak a lot in the office, but this is actually the first time I've spoken publicly since COVID. This is really like, so Mark asked, hey, would you mind coming out? And I said, holy smokes, yes. Because I haven't spoken publicly in over like two and a half years. So it's neat. I'm probably going to have to shake off the rust, so I apologize about that. Tonight's workshop, I mentioned earlier before everybody was here, I love things, I love trying to make things that are complex simple. So one of my favorite quotes is, simplicity on the far side of complexity is an art form. So we're going to talk about stretching, and there's a lot that we can talk about when it comes to stretching. What I'm going to keep it to is simple and basic. So if you're already stretching, you're going to be able to pick something up from this and expand upon it. If you're not stretching much, you're going to be able to pick up from this and hopefully be inspired to start stretching. Caveats, okay? Does anybody currently stretch, like, let's just say daily right now? It's okay if you don't, okay? It's totally okay. Once a week, that's okay too. All right, so the purpose here is, what I'm going to ask of you, and I'm going to ask, and I'm going to ask right out of the gate, is each one of you, and I'm going to have Mark, if you can leave that one. Yeah.
Excellent. Do you mind?
Yep.
You might, okay. And just keep the extras up, my Mark. And I think I may have some handouts at the bottom, so don't worry about those. We'll keep those over there. I think I got some chiropractic research in there by accident when I picked everything up. So, everybody just hold on to your package. You can flip on through. So our goal is, I'm gonna ask right out of the gate rather than at the end, but I'm gonna finish with the same ask at the end. So my ask is gonna be, take this packet home with you tonight, and I want you to go right to your bedroom with the packet, and I want you to put it on your nightstand, okay? Or at a place within a few moments of you waking up, like a few steps of you waking up, that you're going to see it, all right? My purpose for doing that is I'm going to ask you to stretch first thing in the morning. All right? I'm a definitive routine person. Okay? Does anybody here wake up around the same time every day? Generally speaking. Yeah. Okay. So I'm like alarm clock or not, like I'm up at 5:15. Okay. But I always set the alarm clock because I get nervous. So I want to add hopefully to your lives a routine, whereby you wake up in the morning, and if this is not the first thing you do, because some people have to go to the bathroom really badly, really quickly when they first wake up. So if that's you, go to the restroom, come right back to your bedroom. But if you can, first thing in the morning, you're going to wake up, and I'm going to ask you to pick up this packet. You need your reading glasses, put them on, and while you're still in bed, I want you to start to do these stretches. So number one is, if you do the same thing the same time every day, it becomes what? A habit. Okay. And our lives are about habit. Human beings, 95% of what we do, and some people find this somewhat disconcerting, but it's actually factually based. 95% of what we do every day is a habit. Okay. It's habitually based. So habits can be good or what? Not good. Okay. So what my ask is that we add a good habit every day. For the next 30 days, I would like you to wake up in the morning and at least look at this. At least look at the cover, okay? And at that moment, okay, you have something called choice, okay? You can choose what? One of two things. Very simple. I told you I'm a simple guy. Okay, so you can choose to do the stretches or not. If you don't do the stretches, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, you go, I feel guilty about that. Okay. I'm okay with that. Okay, for a little bit. You make a choice. If that day is a day where you know what, like I am running on time, and I'm going to do it, then you do it. If you don't, you can go, you know what, feel guilty, but like, I'm gonna put it back down there, and every day is a new day, and nothing about your past defines your future, only what you do, say, and how you act from this moment going forward. So when you wake up the next day, what are you gonna do? Look at it, okay? At some point in time, okay, my hope is, okay, if it's not the first or second or third day, or you're gonna pick it up and go, okay, I'm gonna do this. And what I'm gonna ask is each stretch, the instructions in here are gonna tell you do 3 repetitions for each stretch. My ask is, if you're not stretching every day, I'm gonna ask you just to do 1 repetition for each exercise. The purpose is, it's kind of like the New Year's resolution that's too complex. You may get into it for a couple of days or a week or so, but it's going to fall by the wayside because it's just too much. It's too much to add in, and it becomes overwhelming. So if we can get into a habit of just doing a stretch, this packet, every day, and there's not many stretches in here, and you do it for 1 repetition, maybe the first week you'll have to keep on looking at it. After week 2, if you're doing it every day, you're going to know them in order, because I keep them in order for a reason, and do it the same one, the same time, the same way every day. And you're not going to need it. So when you wake up in the morning, it's going to go by even more quickly. Honestly, you'll be able to get through this with 1 repetition in under 2 minutes. Okay? It'll take me longer to kind of work my way through, 2, maybe 3 minutes. So if like, you know, because we all have different reasons for doing things and not doing things. If a reason is, well, I don't have time. Okay? 2 minutes. Okay? 2 minutes. I want to eliminate that one. Okay? And I want to make it simple. So wake up, do 1 repetition every morning for 30 days. Okay? If you do something for 30 days, okay, you've developed a new habit. Especially if it's the same time, the same stretches, in the same order. And after that, like, honestly, forever, ever, amen, you could be anywhere, okay? You could be, like, staying at a hotel or visiting family. You could be at a gym and say, you know what, I want to do my stretches, and you can go boom, 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 all right? There's a lot more stretches a human being can do than what's in here. Fine, you can add on and do anything else you want, but for 30 days, keep it simple, okay? Keep it repetitious, and I want you to do these stretches. And having that good habit to always fall back on, that's what I'm looking for. Also, simple things done over time, okay, and you keep on doing them are much, much more effective than doing it for the short period of time and doing a lot, and then having it fall by the wayside and not do it. So I kind of like akin it to, like, if you're saving for money for retirement, okay, if you put a few dollars in, okay, right from the time when you're 20, I started this with my kids. Okay, they're 18, 20, and 22, and they all have a retirement account with Vanguard. Okay, and I have friends that go, what? And we said, no, we opened, as soon as each turned 18, we opened a retirement account in Vanguard for each one of them. And we said, okay, we're going to seed this with, okay, a couple dollars, and then when you're working, and they're all working for the summers and doing different things, you're going to take 10% of whatever you make, okay, every paycheck, and it's going to go into that. And they're not making very much right now. However, you know, you don't have to make a lot, but if you start with a little and you do it with consistency over time, okay, the result is going to be what in 40 years? Yeah. Like I look back and go, man, I wish I would have done that. Because if you do a lot later, it's okay, but you're still not going to achieve what you did by putting a little bit at a time. So the big ask here is do it with consistency, do it every day. It's simple, so you can do it every day. All right? Now, some do's and don'ts about stretching. Number 1 is hydrate. So it's always good, no matter if you're stretching or not, to be well hydrated. So drink lots of water every day. It's really, really good for you. I think I mention this almost every time I do a workshop. And what's a good amount of water to drink per day? I kind of use the same equation. Take your body weight divided by 2. Okay, that's the number of ounces per day you could be drinking. And after you're going, oh my gosh, I'd be floating away if I did that, because I don't come anywhere near that. Do better. All right. So the thing is, if somebody weighs 250 pounds, they're going to need more water than somebody that weighs 125 pounds. So taking your body weight and kind of doing a ratio that way is the way that you should do it. And with water,
Half of your body weight, is that
in ounces. In
yeah,
ounces.
oh yeah.
So, you know, if you're 160 pounds, okay, that's 80 ounces. So,
How much is that? How many quarts is that? How many ounces in that?
I'd say like drinking, like you probably have an 8 or 10 ounce glass. If you have a water bottle, there's 16 ounces. So just say how many water bottles do I need? I have a metal water jug that holds 24 ounces. So when I'm working in the morning, I take my water jug and fill it up. Full disclosure, I'm lazy. My staff does it for me, okay? Because I'm not innately a good water drinker. So I have one of my staff, one of their things in the morning on their checklist is to fill up Dr. Bill's water. And they put it in the area where I do most of my work. And by between 7 and 9:30, that's gone. Okay, and then I'm responsible. I fill out the next one. And by the end of the morning, I've drank 2 or 3 of those. And then for breakfast, I have a glass of water. Okay, 10-ounce glass. For lunch, I have a 10-ounce glass. For dinner, I have a 10-ounce glass. In the afternoon, I have 2 more of those 25s. So if you just spread it out and always have it available, okay, you're going to drink more water. Okay, you don't have to drink half your body weight, but if you're not doing anything or coming anywhere near that, make it a goal to do something. Because muscles, okay, are 95%. Human beings, 95% of our mass is water weight. So the more water you get in, the more toxins and garbage you flush out. The more your muscles are going to be pliable and flexible. So, and if you're stretching, you want pliable, flexible muscles, so you're less apt to pull them. Okay.
So I just hear you say muscles respond to
Well, when you
hydration?
Absolutely, 100%. If you're dehydrated, you're much more likely to pull a muscle. Okay, you're much more likely to injure a muscle group. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and also when you put lots of water in, it flushes garbage out. Okay, because like our body produces lots of toxins, and if you don't get enough water into your system, your body holds in the water it does have because it doesn't know when it's going to get its next drink of water. It's also holding in toxins. That raises your possibilities for inflammatory diseases, cancer, heart disease, kidney stones, like you name it. So more water means that stuff doesn't sit in your system as long, it flushes out more quickly. And you start drinking more water, get ready because you're going to pee a lot. Okay, you're going to pee a whole lot.
Does being dehydrated delay your recovery time?
Yes.
When you exercise? I row, and it takes me 2 days to recover from a workout, and I think that's a long time. So
It is. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure the intensity of the workout and things like that, other things about you. But if you're like even a little bit lacking in water, they may be really helpful for you. And
Okay.
also electrolyte balance.
Okay.
Okay, that could be a part of it too.
Okay, now for electrolytes, do you have to use the commercial Gatorade?
No. Some of those things have a lot of sugar.
Yes.
So you want to be careful with that. So like electrolytes, there are like, and I don't know the particular names. There are some of those brands that have like no sugar, and you have electrolytes without getting the garbage in them. If you can find those, fine. Otherwise, you get electrolytes through bananas, potassium, through fruits, or you can go to and just get regular supplements. They're very inexpensive at a pharmacy, and you can do it that way. So with stretching, some of the reasons why we stretch, one is flexibility. You want to have flexible muscles because if they're not flexible, you're going to have more chance to have injury. So a lot of us, if we haven't been stretching, if you go to use a quick twitch muscle, say if you're going to step off a curb and you didn't realize there's a car coming at you and you have to jump back real quick, okay, that quick twitch of a muscle can cause a muscle pull or a muscle tear. So if you're hydrated and you're stretching, when you go to use the muscles, you have to use them quickly, you're going to be less apt to have the injury to those muscles. So, and you're going to have more flexibility in your joints. Okay? You're actually going to feel better physically, and also the studies tell us emotionally after having to stretch, because your body releases they're called the happy hormones, endorphins and enkephalins, and when you're stretching or working out, you're releasing them. So for multiple different reasons, stretching is really, really helpful and really, really important. So what I want to do is get into now, okay, here's the ask, and we're going to go through each one of these stretches, and I have them laid out in a fashion whereby, full disclosure again, number one, I don't like to drink water, but I do because I know I have to. So I set myself up for success by always having it around me. Number two is, so in the morning, I stretch right out of the gate because if I get it over with, I've got it done one time during the day. If you want to stretch more than that, knock yourself out, but each day I know I've gotten these stretches done. You're not gonna be super Gumby flexible, okay, after stretching for a day or two. Okay, stretching is a cumulative effect, again, like compounding interest in a bank account, that you gain over time. So if you're stretching, honestly, if you do this for a week, you're gonna start to notice a difference of, oh, I actually feel a difference, I feel better. You'll feel more limber and looser. Your gait will actually increase, okay, as you're walking. You will notice a difference. And even waking up in the morning, if you're stiff in the morning, you will start to feel less stiff coming out of bed. So it's the accumulation over time of stretching that's really, really helpful. So when you wake up in the morning, these are broken down into sections. So flip over to the first page. Full disclosure, the very handsome model is Dr. Skylar McCormick. That's our nephew that's coming to work with us. So he interned with us when he was in chiropractic school, and I suckered him into taking these pictures. Okay, so, all right, so imagine this, okay, whatever time you wake up in the morning, the alarm clock goes off. So, okay, number one is knee to chest. So the first couple exercises are when we are first waking up, and if you're able to not have to get up and run right to the bathroom, and you can take 2 minutes, stay in bed. If not, come back to bed. You can do it on the bed or on the floor, whatever's more comfortable for you. Again, I'm in bed, I take the covers, I flip them off very quietly. My wife is not a 5:15 riser, and if I wake her up, bad things start to happen to me. So number one is while you're laying in bed, you're on your back, okay? So you just take a knee and you're gonna bring it up to your chest. Okay, now, you may not be able to bring it up to your chest because you're a bit stiff, okay, which is completely okay. You bring it up to what you can do. If you can't reach your knee and you wanna reach underneath here and start to pull, you pull. You hold for 3 to 5 seconds, okay, at the start. Now, some stretching you can hold for 30 seconds, which is fantastic. If you want to work up to that, that's fantastic. What I'm asking is, usually 3 to 5 seconds you're going to hold. Make sure the other leg is straight while you're doing that, okay? And then let that leg slowly straighten back out, and then do the opposite leg, okay? That's stretch number one, 1 repetition, okay? Stretch number 2 is while you're laying on your back. Okay, and it's hard to figure out contextually if he's flying in the air. Skylar there is not flying in the air. He's laying on his back. So stretch number 2, there's a couple ways to do this, is you're on your back, on the bed, you got your hands stretched out like this, and you do a leg crossover. You bring a leg over, okay? Now, if you have a significant other that's on the other side of the bed, and you kick them in the can, you can only blink and eat once, okay? Okay. But you take a stretch, and you're stretching like this. Now, if you're not used to doing this, or if you have a hip replacement, knee replacements, just be aware of these things. And then I'm going to teach you a way to modify it. But just let it stretch 3 to 5 seconds, and you're getting a little bit of torque there, so don't force anything. Let gravity just take your leg as far down as it'll go. Now, if you have an issue like you can't bring that leg over because of a hip issue, a knee issue, you can spread your arms out. You can put one knee, you put your leg behind your knee like this, and just let your leg come partway over like that. And what you're doing is here is you're stretching your trunk muscles on each side, and then you do the other side.
Show me that again.
So you're on your back, okay, and you're on your back, you put your leg here, okay, one leg behind this, and just stretch like this, rather than bring your leg over
Yes.
and do that. The second one is less of a stretch and less stress here. So if you haven't done it, you would start probably with that one there, okay? Yes?
Question, on the picture, his knee is bent, but you went over to straight leg.
The bottom leg straight, and that one there, your leg can be a little bit bent. That's completely fine. Because what you're really trying to do
What's
is
the
you're trying.
optimum position? And
My preference is I keep mine straight. Skylar keeps his a little bit bent. Either way is completely fine. Because the leg being straight or not is really the big key. It's that you're getting the stretch this way, and it doesn't matter if the leg's a little bent or not. That's a great question. That's a very good question. Okay, next, flip it over, and cat stretch. Again, you're still in bed. So, like, it's broken down where the first 3, I'm not even awake yet, okay? And I'm on autopilot, and I'm doing these 3 stretches. Again, 1 repetition each. You're gonna get on all 4s. And again, especially if somebody has like a bad knee or a knee replacement, it's easier to do that in your bed that's a little more squishy than it is on the floor that's a little bit harder. So with the cat stretch, you're going to start off on all 4s in a neutral position. And the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna let your belly, you're gonna try and push your belly to the floor, okay? And you don't have to push, just gravity itself, you just let it take your belly towards the floor. As it's going towards the floor, I want you to arch your chin up, okay? And what we're doing here is we're working our low back extensors, some of our oblique muscles through our sides, and our core muscles in the front. We're not actually working them out, we're stretching them. So what we're doing here is actually working our way around with all these stretches, is we're hitting not all, but a lot of the major body parts. So we kind of start the day having stretched a little bit. Most injuries for people begin within 5 minutes of waking in the morning, soft tissue injuries, or 5 minutes of beginning activity. So if you can wake, okay, and start to kind of prime the pump, okay, like, you know, and as we get older, and I think there's nobody in here that's 25 years old, you'll have a reality as each year goes by. Have you noticed that things get a little stiffer, especially in the morning? It takes a little bit longer sometimes to get the juices flowing. This is a way to kind of get things flowing like gently, safely, and we're going to start our day off better and looser this way. Okay, so again, 1 repetition. So when the belly goes down after that, what you're going to do is you're going to stretch your back up like a cat. Okay, and that's really working the low back extensor muscles on all fours. When you do that, let your head hang down. All right? You're also working your cervical musculature, front and back when you do that. Now, flip the page over.
Question on that one, Joe.
Yes, no, I love questions.
Since even with my knee replacement, it's painful to be on the bed.
Yep.
When I'm at the kitchen sink, which is kind of like sort of lower, right? I can still do
100%.
that. Is that
Yes,
like
yes.
an
That is a perfect.
alternative
That is a
to
perfect.
that?
That is a perfect alternative, either at the kitchen
Okay.
sink or
you
at
know,
the
something to lean on?
or at the edge of your bed. You're doing the same thing.
Okay.
That is a perfect, wonderful alternative. Everybody get that? So if you can't get on all fours because you have like a knee that's bad, when you get to the sink or when you stand up, okay, you just go to the edge of your bed, okay, and you can actually do it that way. Re-arch and do that, okay? So there's almost always an alternative to something. Another caveat, if you're doing a stretch and it's hurting, okay, that may not be the stretch for you, okay? Like back off and don't go into it. Stretching, what you want to do is feel just a little bit of a pull, but you don't want to push into it much more than when you start to feel that stretch, especially when you're first starting. Over time, you will gain more flexibility. Like it will happen if you just take it slow and steady, just a little bit at a time over time. All right. Now the first 3 are done when you're just laying in bed. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to sit up. Okay. You're sitting on the edge of the bed now, and you're going to go into your neck or your cervical stretches. All right. Same premise. Okay. You're going to take it to whatever you feel comfortable, where you feel a pull or a stretch, holding for 3 to 5 seconds. Now, since you're all sitting up, okay, and you'd be kind of sitting in bed in the morning, I want everyone to do these with me. All right. So I want you to tuck your chin down to your chest. 1, 2, 3. 3. Look up, straight ahead. Extend your head back and look to the ceiling. Far back as you can where it's comfortable. 1, 2, 3. Back to center. Okay. Next thing is you're going to turn as far as you can to the left. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Rotate back to center. Take your time. Okay. You're going to go to your right. 1, 2, 3. Back to center. Okay. Left ear, you're going to try and bend it towards your left shoulder. No cheating and raising your shoulder. That's cheating. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Bend up. And opposite sides. 1, 2, 3, and relax. So what we just did there is we worked all quadrants of the cervical or your neck musculature. Okay. Sides, front, and back. Anybody feel more of a pull in one particular motion than the others? Which one do you feel? Side to side?
Yeah.
Most people, it's this and this. They feel the most stretch. Why do you guys think that is? That's it. That's exactly it. A lot of us, almost all of us, like we're like this. If you're driving, you're like this. You ever go on a really long car drive and you're the primary driver, okay, and you just go and go and go, and when you get out of the car, okay, even this and this or this and this, it feels like you're locked in place. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So most human beings, okay, we don't laterally bend and stretch. And like those muscles, if you go to use them quickly and you pull them, where they hurt like a you know what. Most people it's going to be that. So just in and of itself, just doing that in the morning is fantastic. Now, that group of stretches, I call them north, south, east, west. There's some rotation there too. The north, south, east, west, like I would recommend multiple times a day, you can do that. Okay, even if it's just one repetition, but if you do that throughout the day, because a lot of us are like we're reading, okay, or we're on a computer, or we're looking down or straight ahead. But if you do that multiple times a day, it is really helpful for motion your neck. I've seen a lot of people over the years when they come in and they what brings them in is when they're driving their car and they're pulling out into traffic, they can't look to their left or right. They have to do this to look, and that's what finally brings them in. Okay, they've been slowly getting that way for 35 years. Okay, but the thing is, if you do these stretches a couple times a day, you actually you're gonna keep that. If you lost some of it, you can gain it back. All right, because a lot of it really just is just tight muscle because of not using it consistently over time. Okay, a couple times a day, but that's fantastic. All right, so now back. Okay, we're sitting again at the edge of the bed. You may have like a simple yawn or two in already. Also, okay, flip through because each one of those cervical stretches. So there we go. Next one, you're going to go to touching toes. Okay, there's a couple ways to play with this one. Okay, now some people have balance issues, some people have vertigo issues. Some people may have low back pain. They're like, if I better touch my toes, I'm not sure if I'm coming back up. Issues. So if you can, okay, you stand up. Okay, at the end of the bed, and you're fine. If anyone wants to stand, you can stand up. And you're going to just you're going to try and keep your hamstrings straight. This is cheating. Okay, keep them straight. And whatever you got, you got. You bend over and let gravity just bring you down as far as you can, and you hold it 3 to 5 seconds, and come back up. Now, alternatives. If you're like, that's not going to work for me. One alternative is, okay, if you have a low bed, you can sit at the edge of the bed, or okay, the chair in your room, get to a chair. Or first chance you get, you can get to a chair. You can sit in a chair. You can put your legs out like this. And then if you guys can all try this one, that's great. Okay, extend your feet out like this. Let your hands and gravity just take you down as far as you can. Okay, don't push anything, don't pull on anything, and you hold. And if you have a hard time getting up, you can walk yourself back up with your hands. So slowly come back up. So if you can't get it at that time, when you get a chance to sit in the chair later on, do that. You're working low back extensors, you're getting your hamstrings stretched out, and you're getting a little bit of your calf stretched out. It's a great alternative if you can't bend over and touch your toes. Another alternative is you want to try and get your hamstrings. That's not in there. If you're in the bed, you can say this is my bed here, and this is the edge of the bed. You can keep your foot on the bed, one hanging off, and stretch down. You're stretching this hamstring. Okay, and then you just do this, put the foot on your bed, this one's hanging off, and you bend forward, okay, you can touch your hamstring, okay? So that way you're just getting each hamstring separately, and you're not bending all the way over if you're worried about balance, okay, or your low back's hurt a little bit more. Okay, so there's a couple really neat alternatives you can do to that. So right now, okay, at that point, we're standing. Okay, so we're standing, we're doing our toe toucher. Flip over to the next page. Okay, we're going to do back rotation. So I want everybody to stand up for me. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to work our trunk muscles. I want everybody to stand up. All right, a couple ways you can play with your arm placement. Skylar does this because he likes it for balance. Okay, so everybody kind of hold your hands out like this for me. Okay, I want you to keep your hips going straight, and you're going to turn your shoulders and you're going to rotate to your left. Don't bounce. Only take it to the point where you feel stretch. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Back to center, don't bounce. Okay, go to the right. Just take it till you feel like that decent stretch. Don't bounce. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And come on up. Okay, grab a seat. All right, where'd you guys feel that one? Yep, exactly. Now, because we're rotating or we're putting some torque into the low back, you don't want to overdo that. Like, you don't, if it hurts, okay, don't go any further into the hurt. Just go into the point where you feel stretch. Okay, because we have discs in our spines, and if you put too much rotation, they're flared up. You can flare them up a little bit more. Okay, you're not going to hurt yourself doing that. If you're not bouncing and you're not trying to jam it in there, okay, just do what your body will let you do. That's a really important one also, because most people don't do trunk rotations. And every day, okay, we actually can and do use a lot of trunk rotation. Question?
Can you rotate to the right with your head to the left? Can you do that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. So, because you're still getting the stretch, okay,
Yes.
of your trunk muscles.
And you say don't balance, what about pulsing, just pulsing?
Wait a minute,
Not-
ding, ding.
Not, yes, something like that, in any of these.
I would say at the start, don't. If you're accustomed to doing it and you're comfortable doing it, you're fine. But I wouldn't unless with that caveat. Yeah, because everybody comes at a different level and they've done different things. If your body responds well to that and you know how to do it, you're fine, like 100%. Okay. So next one, I want you guys to flip over. Okay. All right, this one, and actually the next two we're going to be standing up. So I'll have you guys stand back up again. All right. Next one, we're gonna stretch muscles across our pectoral muscles across our chest. Okay, our anterior deltoids, front parts of the shoulders, and we're also going to get a stretch in our mid back. So what we're going to do is you're going to put your hands behind your back like this. Okay, just hold on to your fingers. Okay, and if you can't quite hold your fingers because you have bad shoulders, do what you can. Put it out there. And what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to take your shoulders and pull them back like this, and bring your neck up like that. And just a stretch. You can pull your hands away from your body if you want, but just taking your shoulders and pulling them back and looking up, and now relax. Okay, now with this one, it's not written there, but I'm going to ask you to do one extra thing in the morning, and I want you to hyperoxygenate. Okay, how's that going to happen? Okay, how do you think that's it? That's how you hyperoxygenate. So when you're bringing your shoulders back, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and look up. Ready? Pull them back, breathe in, hold it, hold it, hold it, relax everything, and out through your mouth. And relax. So, why do I ask to hyperoxygenate? Is oxygen a good thing or a bad thing for human beings? It's a really good thing. Most of us, you grab a seat for a second because I'm going to ramble for a moment. Most human beings never do that during a day. Most human beings don't do that during a week, a month, or probably most of their adult lives. You're shaking your head. So oxygen is what we would call one of the essentials of life. Okay, and you could probably guess what most of them are. Okay, oxygen is essential to life, which means if you take it away pretty quickly, you die. Okay, and the oxygen is like one of the ones where you take it away, you die pretty quickly. But if you add it in, okay, it's going to have a profound impact in a positive way. So if you start your morning by getting extra oxygen, like really expanding your lungs and getting a deep breath, and your diaphragm, in order for that to happen, has to pull down, and it sucks air into your lungs. Okay, that breath of air that you just took, okay, within 90 seconds, okay, it hits every cell in your body, okay, every red blood cell. My apologies.
My apologies for asking this question.
Yes.
All day.
Oh, okay. How does it affect you?
And you don't have to answer it, and I'm not gonna get,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying,
It's a profoundly good question. I don't have a.
I didn't think you would.
I
but
don't
just
have a
wanted-
specific scientific answer.
Is this healthy?
Um,
What they have,
It's a
and
less-
I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
anymore, I don't want to
That's okay.
embarrass anybody or
no,
myself.
no. I would just answer. I'll answer in a way. I'll give a personal answer. Okay. Personal answer to me, it's at certain points in time when there is like a probable imminent danger of infection of something. It's a lesser of two evils. Are we better off if there is no imminent danger around us, having something covering our faces so we can't breathe as well? No, no, no. Is it a choice to at a moment where, hey, people don't want to get what's here in them, okay, or what's out there in them? Okay, yes, that's why hospital ORs, okay, when they're doing surgeries, they're masked because they don't want to get whatever is on them. It's for those reasons. In the current state, okay, the way things have been and such, it seems it's a choice now, okay, to wear one or not wear one, depending upon where you're at. I still wear one every day in the office because we're a medical facility and we're asked to do so. So I'm like, as a rule, I'm a rule follower. Okay, I'm going to follow the rules as long as they're somewhat normal. But our patients have the option to wear them or not to wear them. So,
And
but
there's a proper way to wear it, and there's a proper composition.
correct,
of-
correct.
of
There's a
the
whole lot of things with
material.
masks, and I did a load of research on masks.
I bet you did.
I did. I mean, I read a lot. I read a lot about C19, I've slowed down now because it was like an obsession. Because it affected my practice, and I wanted to be as well informed as I possibly can from all different venues. So I read a whole lot about it, and also masks and which ones were better and not, and where mistakes were made and things like that. So ideally, no, we're better off not having masks on our face. You know, we weren't born with them. But when they're needed for specific things, you go for it. Yeah, but I like taking deep breaths. So hyperoxygenating in the morning, okay, fantastic, because it gets more oxygen to your cells, and that spreads throughout your body like in a very wonderful way. So if you do it even just once a day, like, man, that's really good stuff for you. And if you're doing more than that, even better. If you take a yawn, okay, if you're like, oh, man, this guy's really boring the hell out of me, okay, and you happen to yawn, and then you go, oh, okay, I've done that, okay, that means you need more oxygen, okay. Take that deep breath, okay, and it's like a shot of caffeine in the morning. I do love my coffee in the morning, by the way. So it's like it hyper-energizes your whole body in a very great way. So with that stretch, take it in, hold it, let it out. You'll actually wake up even more just in that second by doing that. So that's fantastic. Last stretch that we have here. Okay. All right. So everybody stand up again. So we're going to do a side stretch. Now, if you have a shoulder problem, like shoulder replacements, you have any issue, just be careful, okay, or not do it. So this one, we're going to kind of clasp your hands. You're going to start by just pushing up towards the ceiling, your hands, okay? And now you're going to lean to the left and push up with your hands. 1, 2, 3, relax. Back to center. Go to your right. Push your hands up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, and relax. All right, everybody have a seat. Where'd you guys feel that one?
Back here.
Shoulders, lats, back. Awesome. That's what we want. When you're doing that, you want to feel, have a seat. You want to feel just that when you feel that slight pull, that's where you want to be. So at that point, you're done. Now, it took me quite a while to get through all that. Okay, one, because I talk a lot. Two, I want to take my time, and there's always an importance between the why behind the what. Like, don't tell me what to do, tell me why, and I'll end up probably doing it. So when you're stretching and you're doing these in succession, okay, one at a time for one repetition, it may be 3 minutes, okay? So the big ask again is, start tomorrow morning when you go home tonight, the first ask, just put it next to your nightstand or a place where you're going to see it first thing in the morning. And then for the next 30 days, okay, leave it there. And every morning you'll have a choice, and don't feel terribly guilty, okay, if you don't, okay, we're all human. But if it's there, you're more apt, okay, the next day you have another choice, which is wonderful. That's like one of the great things about life. Okay, next day you always have a choice to make, and you can make a different one. But do it for 30 days, one repetition. At the end of 30 days, you go, boy, I'm inspired, I want to do more. That's fantastic. You can add on to this. But if you've done it for 30 days, anytime you want to like just say, hey, I only have a moment here, a couple moments, I want to stretch, you can go to that, and it's going to be in here. Okay? If I were to add on another muscle group, okay, that I didn't put in there, that's one that we use every day, that's an important one, it would be your calves. Okay, that's not in there. So calves are really, really important. That'd be the first one I think I would add in there. That's not in there. And so a couple ways to stretch calves. There's more than one way to do that. Number one, if you have a wall, okay, you can do a calf stretch against the wall. So you come up to the wall, okay, put your hands on the wall. If I want to stretch my right leg, I'm going to put it back, keep the leg very straight. My arms are going to be fully extended, and to stretch that calf, I'm going to lean into the wall and keeping my heel on the floor, and your calf will stretch 3 to 5 seconds. That's one way to stretch your calf. You just do the same thing with the other side. Another way is if you're in bed and you're like, okay, well, that's not really for me. You can get a towel, a bath towel. You can be in bed or on the floor, and you can put the towel around the bottom of your foot. Okay, you can gently pull up, and you'll feel a pull, okay, in the calf. That's another way you can do it. You can get on the edge of the stair, okay? Hold on to the rail, okay? And put your feet on the edge of the stair like this and let the bottom of your feet start to hang down, okay? Holding on to the rail, that's another way, you can keep your balance that way. Another great way to stretch your calves, okay? So we can go on and on, but those are some basic ways to do it. 3 to 5 seconds. I would add in calf if I was gonna add something else right away.
How important are shoes?
Ooh. Shoes are pretty important. So one thing I like to tell my patients is, I like to tell them a lot of things, but 2 really good investments from a dollars and cents standpoint into your health are good shoes and a good mattress. So a lot of people will spend a lot of money on fancy clothes, okay, fancy designer shoes, or like things that you put on top of your bed, like fluffy things and duvets, and they'll spend more on that than they do on their mattress. You spend a third of your life sleeping, hopefully, 6 to 8 hours. Okay, that's a third of a day, week, month, third of your life, you're in bed. So good mattress and a good pair of shoes is crazy important.
How important is a good pillow?
That's really, really important too. Let me answer the shoes a little bit more first though.
Okay.
So good shoes are really important. What constitute good shoes? Well, number 1, they need to be comfortable for you. Number 2, something with a rubber sole. And kind of like, and I don't think anybody here is a dress shoes wearer, you know, like men's dress shoes. They still make them, a lot of them, with a hard heel on the bottom and a leather like insole. Rubber, okay, something that's like rubbery because it's got bounce and cushion to it. So a good shoe has rubber on the bottom of it because you want that shock absorption. Number 2, arch support. Okay, a lot of shoes, children's shoes, drives me crazy. Okay, kids up until they're probably like early teens, you look at their shoes, there's no arch. They have a flat bottom. Children have arches. Okay, and they're active. Okay, and that's not good for their feet, their ankles, their knees, and their spines if there's not an arch support. So you want to have a shoe with a good arch support in it too. That's really, really important. Most Americans, not most, up to 50%, okay, wear shoes that aren't properly fitted for them. Okay, so I'll make it short as I can. When we were kids, I'm going to guess, okay, when you wanted to get shoes, where would you go to get shoes? Walmart? Around that. Okay, where would you go to get shoes?
The shoe store.
You went to a shoe store. Okay, do you guys ever go to a shoe store? Raise your hand. Okay, you could probably close your eyes and imagine how cool the shoe store was. I used to love going to the shoe store. Okay, because in my town, Plainfield, New Jersey, there's a place called Strand Shoes, and it had been there for probably 75 years. I think by the time it closed, it was there for like 125 years. You would walk into it in a little downtown place, and there'd be a big ladder going up like 20 feet in the air, and there'd be some little guy with like suspenders, a button-up shirt, and a tie, okay, flying back and forth, pulling shoes off. But when you went in, you'd sit down, and what would they do right away? Did you pull your own shoes? No.
Measure your feet.
They measure your feet. That's exactly. They would measure your feet.
They would x-ray them.
Yeah, which was scary. Okay, they would X-ray them for years and years. They were X-raying feet, not
I'm giving
realizing
my
when the
age
X-rays first
away.
came on. Yeah, until all these people that got too much exposure, like ended up having their feet amputated, had cancer because of that. So, but then they had fluoroscopes and things like that. That's a whole other story. It was really interesting. So they would measure your feet. Measure your feet this way and that way, standing, because when you're standing, your feet do this and this. So now we're just trained. We walk into a shoe store and you kind of like my size is, and you pull it off of a shelf and you put it on. I'm a big fan of. They actually have them. It's even at Dick's Sporting Goods and things. You can still measure your feet as you get older because of gravity, okay, and sometimes extra weight, okay, and use. What happens to your feet?
Your arches drop.
Yes. Yeah, your arches can drop, which means your foot gets what?
Bigger size.
Longer, okay, and they can also expand this way. So your foot, most adults, as we get older, our feet get longer and wider. Some of us are stuck in our head. I'm a 9AA, okay? I'm a 9AA. I'm a 9AA. I'm a 9AA. Okay. My waist size used to be certain length of this way. I wish it was still that way. My shoe size went up a half size. By the time I'm between 20 and 30, this way and that way. And I kept on buying shoes, and I'm like, why aren't they fitting well? Like they're bothering me. Until I finally went back and measured, and they did that and that. So I needed a wider shoe and a slightly longer shoe. So if you have the opportunity, measure your foot again. It's not a bad idea. Okay, so that's on shoes. That's kind of the general thing, but it's important to spend the money on shoes. If you're if you like to walk a lot, okay, and even if you don't, if you're out exercising at all, okay, if you're going to a park, you're going for a walk, going out for a day, it's good to have sneakers, okay, and it's not a bad idea to go to a running store, okay, and even if you're not a runner, okay, you don't need to be a runner. What they'll do is, they're all over, one at Phoenixville, they're great.
I just wanted them there too.
Yeah, Valley Forge Running Company, the one up on me in the Coventry's. Go to a running store, and you're really not going to pay much more than you would at a regular store, unless you get really cheap sneakers, but you don't want that anyway. And when you go in, the experience is going to be, it's your first time in there, they're going to look at you and go, okay, roll your pants up, or wear shorts, they're going to watch you walk across the store. And what they're looking at is your gait, like how are your feet striking the floor. Okay, there's 3 basic ways. You have a foot strike, you have a neutral, okay, you can invert in or you can evert out. They're going to see what kind of foot strike you have, and they go, okay, knowing that, here's a general kind of shoe that we might want to start with you. Then they're going to find out your size. Okay, they're going to ask you questions about what you do and what kind of exercise level you do have, and then they're going to start to pull shoes and try them on you. So, and you take your time, and honestly, like when you get that right pair, it's just like, oh, this feels really good. You'll know it when you find it. So I do think it's a great idea to stop at a running store, and it's just a great education. I started running for a triathlon. I'm like, I'm going to do triathlon like 20 years ago, and I wasn't educated in this way, and I got shin splints. Okay, the front of my shins, they were just screaming in pain. And I walked into a running store because a patient said, well, what kind of shoes you wearing? And I'm like, well, here. And they go, where'd you get them? I go, I got it from the sporting goods store. And they looked at me like, and you're my chiropractor. I'm like, they're like, I'm embarrassed. I can see the look. I'm like, gotcha. So, and I got an education about footwear and sneakers going to a running store. It was really wonderful. So, sorry to divert, but on shoes. And then a pillow, going back to that, pillow is as important as the mattress, if not more, equally as important. A good mattress gives you good support. There's 3 basic ways to sleep: side, back, stomach. Avoid your stomach. I doubt anybody here's a stomach sleeper. It's really bad for your spine. Really bad for your spine. It'll be a hard habit to break, though. Okay. If you want to break it, start on your side and have a big body pillow in front of you, and your left half to end up on your stomach. Most people lose their cervical curve when they sleep on their stomach by the time they're in their 30s. There's a little sequela to that. Okay.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay. At this point in time, like if that's the only way you can get to sleep, again, I'm a lesser of 2 evil guy, but you can start to retrain yourself. Okay. Now, if you're going on your side, okay, pillows are different depending on how you sleep. Okay. So if you're a side sleeper, you want to have a pillow wide enough, okay, that keeps your nose in line with your belly button. Okay. So if you're laying on your side, you have a tiny little pillow, and I'm laying on my right side, my head does this. Okay, so I'm spending a third of my life with my spine doing that, okay, and my nervous system's kind of torquing up this way too. If you're on your stomach, okay, your head has to do that in order to breathe, so you kind of like this little corkscrew effect in your cervical spine that stretches your spinal cord.
I'm in trouble.
You're not in trouble.
No, I'm
Don't
just
get nervous. Don't get nervous.
kidding.
No, but it's like biomechanically, that's the stuff that happens, and like for moments or minutes, not a big deal, but like over extended time, there's a cumulative effect that often will happen. Don't be nervous, okay? So you want to have a pillow that keeps your spine in line and straight, nose over your belly button. So if it's a Sobakawa, or if it's a Tempur-Pedic, or if it's a whatever down-filled pillow, great. I tend to gravitate towards, if you're a side sleeper, the contoured pillows. Has a bump on one end that's bigger, so your head can cradle in the valley, and it keeps your nose in line that way. So you have to get that size pillow where it's comfortable and it keeps you lined up that way. If you're a back sleeper, another great way to sleep, because when you're laying on your back, you can keep your spine really straight. But if you have a back sleeper, but you have a side sleeper pillow, and it's really thick, what happens to your neck? Big thick pillow, you lay on your back, what does it do? Put your head in flexion, okay? So, like briefly, like we all have a curve in our neck that goes forward, it's called cervical curve, and your spinal cord's cradled inside there like that, and the muscles are out here. Okay, if you have your neck stuck in flexion, the muscles, your neck has to do that. The muscles and spinal cord are remain attached to the brain, okay, in the suboccipital area. They have to stretch like that. So they're stretched and pulled like the whole time you're in flexion. So, and that affects neurology, okay, even while you're sleeping. You know, how messages are being sent to and from your brain to your body. So if you're on your back, you want a thin pillow, okay, so your head's not in flexion, okay, if you have a thin pillow, you put like a little tiny bump, it cradles the curve in your neck while you're laying on it. So back sleepers, no pillow, really small, or small, little tiny bump. So people ask me almost once a day, like where can I or should I buy a pillow? I always say number one, good luck, okay, sometimes it's really hard to find a pillow. So what I tell them is, one of my favorite places, but a little pricey. I was walking through King of Prussia Mall. I was having a hard time finding a pillow for a couple months that actually fit what I like. I just wasn't comfortable. They have a select comfort store in there, the air mattress place. Okay, air mattresses are really comfortable. Some people love them, some people hate them, but they have a whole wall full of pillows. Okay, and the salespeople there were really good. I walked in, I just said, "Need a pillow," and they asked me questions like, side, back. And they started handing me pillows, and if you want to go pillow shopping, I did. Go in your comfy clothes, like if you're going mattress shopping, go in your comfy clothes, and you want to try them out. Okay, so I got in one of their beds, and I got a pillow, and I laid on my side, and my wife was like, really? And I'm like, doing this, I want a good pillow. So guess who got my pillow 2 weeks later? My wife. She took it because she liked it. She made fun of me. So that was a funny story. We're laying in bed, and she goes, my neck's really bothering me. And I said, well, here, try this for a moment and see how it works. And she goes, I really like this pillow. So if you're married, you know what that means? You lost your pillow. So I lost my pillow. But I tried different pillows, and I found the one that kind of fit. Okay.
What was the name of that store?
It's called the Select Comfort Store. I have no stock, no one there. But even if you find a pillow that works for you, and you say, okay, I kind of take a picture of it, I have an idea now, I know what to look for somewhere else where it might be cheaper, great. But you can try them out there, and they're not pushing or anything, and you can get a sense of what really feels good. Kind of like the sneakers, when you get the one that feels right, like, you got it. And the return policy is really good. If you don't like it 30 days later, within 30 days you bring it back, and you can pick out another pillow. And you keep on doing that until you find your pillow. So, but it will cost you a couple bucks for a good pillow.
How much does a good pillow?
I can tell you the pillow there I got was like $100. Yep. But a good pillow is going to last you 5 years. And like for me, sleep's important. So a good mattress, which I have, and a good pillow, which I have. I spend money on mattress, pillow, and shoes. Okay, like my pants and everything. I don't get designer pants and fancy pants and things like that. But I will spend a few bucks, within everybody has a budget, on a mattress, shoes, and a pillow. I will look at that. But if you can find one that's comfy, like checking it out there and saying, I know what I'm looking for, you can start to search around and find cheaper options. They'll probably be fine with it too. I'm just like pressed for time often, and it's like, I have ADD when it comes to shopping. If I find something I like and it's like in that range of something that's important to me, which I listed, I'll just buy it. I'll pay the price rather than looking all over the place for it. But everybody's different. Some people love to be like the ultimate shopper and find a great deal, and my wife's like that, I'm not. Okay, I see it, I like it, done. All right. So any other questions? Because I'm sorry I talk so much. I'll keep on going.
My joints go snap, crackle, pop. What causes that?
I'll deal with a question you didn't ask first. It's okay and normal. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Then you don't have to answer.
Yep. It's okay and normal. The snap, crackle, pop, like that and that. What it is, okay, is typically like fingers. That doesn't cause arthritis. Okay. Fingers, your spine, knees. There's different joints. Most of them are synovial joints. So they're encapsulated joints, and they have like air pockets, more like nitrogen pockets. And when you move a joint and one like joint on top of the other, there's a compressed gas inside the capsule. It gets forced out, and when it gets forced out, it makes a popping sound. So in and of itself, no problem. The only time it is or could be a problem is if when you're doing it, if it happens, it's painful. It doesn't too often happen, but if it does, that's something where if it's consistent, you're going to want to get that area of your body looked at. Otherwise, totally normal, totally fine.
Thank you.
Yep. It's maybe a little disconcerting, but you're good.
And you see that thing on the internet, the neck thing that they're advertising everywhere now?
What is it? Tell me what it does. Describe it. I'll tell you about it.
You just put your head on it and you lay on it for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Did
So,
you see that?
So the premise there, I haven't seen that commercial where the
It's
ad
not
for
on
it.
TV, it's on the computer.
on a computer. So
Facebook.
I can tell you briefly, a normal spine should be straight from front to back. So you want to do things that can promote straightness, like sitting, standing, bending, lifting, sleeping. So things that promote straightness is what you want to do. From a side view, it's the opposite. You want curves. Neck, upper back, low back. You want to promote those curves. Often, many people, because what we like, especially people that are working on computers all day, they're doing this. Their neck heads the way of a bowling ball. Okay. They're looking down like that. It's like holding a bowling ball out here as compared to here. So neutral with your ear over your shoulder. That's happy place for your neck and upper back muscles. But when you're looking down, a lot of stress. And over time, a lot of people, the curve in their neck goes away because of so much time doing this or car accidents and different things that happen in life. So if you, what I think you're talking about, it'll be like a little wedge, okay? It's basically like, you go back to like high school science, it's a fulcrum. Okay, so the fulcrum is being put in the middle part of the neck, and your head hangs over it. So you should have a neck that looks like that. And a lot of people, they do things that do that. Here's the fulcrum, middle part of your neck, your head's the weight of a bowling ball. Okay, gravity's going to do that with it. It's just helping to reestablish normal curve. So it's totally fine. Yeah. So
I've seen it, but I
yeah.
don't.
If it's too expensive, don't buy it because you can hang your head off the edge of your bed and do just as fine. But if it's a couple bucks and you think you may have a reduction in cervical curve or it just feels good to have that in there, you can also get a hand towel. Okay, roll it up into a little cylinder, put it behind your neck, keep your knees bent up, and lay on your floor. It's going to do the same type of thing, but the premise there is very solid. It does make sense. And if you're stretching, it helps also, especially extension, because we do so much of our day with things in flexion. Great question.
So are you familiar with this product called Boost? It's a aerosol oxygen.
I'm not, but I can tell you, again, just guessing on it, goes back to the young lady's question back there, or one of them, and me talking about hyperoxygenation.
Yes.
You're doing great deep breathing a couple times a day. You're getting extra oxygen to your system. That's all you're basically going to need. You know, some people getting like a booster, like a pure oxygen into their system. You can buy oxygen in aerosol cans. You know, if you have issues with breathing or COPD, things like that, one, you're probably going to get oxygen anyway. But outside of that, if people aren't doing like deep breathing every day, start doing that. That's all you're going to need. It's free. I'll cost you that much. Okay? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. I appreciate the questions and your time. So once again, my big ask, okay, nightstand, 30 days. You at least have to look at it for 30 days. All right? Good. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, very nice.